lleguen porque no podemos preguntar a Jesús. Pinche Juan, no entiende por qué.
Family, please come and be seated. They moved it. It's over there. So they moved it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a plastic bin back there with hand warmers. You just have to flex the metal, and we'll be passing those out, but you're welcome to help yourself if you want. If you have a cell phone, please place it into silent mode. If you don't have a program, I'll be walking around in just a moment to pass them out. Could I ask you, sir, not to stand? We're video broadcasting the funeral. What's the uniform? Yes, I have them. We'll be passing out yarmulkes and programs during the service, as well as hand warmers. The funeral service is going to be conducted by Rabbi Terry Tackman and cantorial leader Alana Axel from Beth Tikva congregation. Some additional seats on the side if anybody needs it. Station.
We are gathered here today because Jodie J. Hollander, beloved wife of the late Martin Hollander, cherished mother of Teresa, Charles, Petrie, and Aaron, Melissa Hollander, loving grandmother of Madeline and David Hollander, and Max Petrie, dear sister of the late Jan and Richard Boyer, fond aunt of David, Kathy Boyer, Jeff and Jennifer Hollander, and Kevin Hollander, loving sister-in-law of Harriet Hollander, Gail, cousin of Gail Meyerson, and David and Bernie and Dale, and niece of the late Rose and Uncle Lou, and friend to many, including Marge and Dennis, and Kathy and Derek and Gina, and Lois Braverman, an active member of many years of Beth Tikva congregation and Beth Tikva sisterhood and book club. She made a difference in your life. As we think of Jodie's life, we think of life itself. Ultimately, we think of God. In Jewish tradition, there is a blessing for everything. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, eternal our God, judge of truth. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful one see destruction. You see the path. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness and joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. God, you have been our refuge in every generation. Before the mountains came into being, before you brought forth the earth and the world, from eternity to eternity, you are God. As for us, you turn us to repentance and say, return, you mortals. The days of our years are 70, or by reason of strength 80 years. But 1,000 years in God's sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or as a watch in the night. Teach us therefore to number our days, that we may attain a heart of wisdom, and may your favor, O God, be upon us. Establish the work of our hands, that it may long endure. I'd like to invite forward Jeff Hollander to share a reflection by the poet Alan Fine.
Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to old age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, and fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until, looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage to life everlasting.
Death has taken your beloved Jodie. You grieve in your darkened world. In your silence there is lamentation. In your tears there is loneliness. Lost in your sorrow, may you find the presence of loving friends and family. Hear them, O God, be with them. For Jodie's love that united you in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that you shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart that brought you joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of the sacred scriptures that brings us the ever new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death.
From Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes to the mountain. From where will it come? Where will my help? Where will my help come? My help comes from God, Adonai, Adonai. My help comes from Adonai, Maker of heaven and earth. Israel,
we read together Psalm 23, which can be found in the packet that we read together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Jewish holiday of Hanukkah, which we celebrate this week, is known as a festival of lights and joy. Jodie Hollander absolutely loved Hanukkah. She especially enjoyed singing the Hanukkah songs that she learned as a child at B'nai Jacob in Charleston, West Virginia. Each year, she would recite the prayers with a smile on her face, and she looked forward to lighting the menorah that her parents, Marcus and Elizabeth Kornstein, lit with her sister Jan when they were children. It wasn't just lighting the Hanukkah lights that brought Jodie joy and meaning. Shabbat was also important to her, and on Friday nights, Jodie would light Shabbat candlesticks that were brought long ago by family members in Europe. Every Friday night, Jodie would light the candles and watch them burn all the way down because, one, she liked watching the flames, and two, because she wanted to make sure that the cats wouldn't knock them over. Jodie also loved birthday candles because birthdays meant visits from her beloved family and friends. How she looked forward to your visits and calls. On Jodie's 93rd birthday this year, Teresa, you visited your mom, as you frequently did, and you later wrote on your Facebook page that your mom was a wonderful light. You wrote, "She was someone who made you feel real joy." What a fitting and relatable way to describe such a loving and caring person that Jodie Hollander was. Jodie indeed was a wonderful light. She was also very bright, not in a light sense, but in an intelligent sense. I add this here because Jodie loved puns. She loved words that had double and multiple meanings, and Jodie always delighted in the discovery of such words. Jodie was witty and fun and had a great sense of humor. She was known for her hilarious Groucho Marx-like side comments and for her smile, which could light up a room. Jodie was indeed very smart. She had a photographic memory. She had a knack for numbers and literature and language. Jodie graduated in just 3 years from high school and attended Ohio State University along with her sister Jan. At OSU, it again took only 3 years to graduate. She was really a go-getter and a woman ahead of her time. Jodie was someone who, when she was told she couldn't do something, she would find a way to make that dream come true, despite what others said. When, for example, Jodie wanted to study journalism in college and others tried to steer her away, she found ways in her life to write and publish stories, such as the one she wrote entitled David Means Beloved, which was published in the Jewish News and won an award. Jodie was not only intelligent and accomplished, she was stylish and attractive. In the 40s and 50s, she would go to nightclubs dressed to the nines. Though Jodie left Charleston, wherever she went, she brought with her a bit of the Southern charm and mannerism from her home. She was prim and proper, classy and refined, and she seldom, if ever, swore. As a child of the Depression, Jodie knew what it was like to have very little. Living through such tough times had a lasting impact on her. On the one hand, she was very frugal, and on the other, she was very generous to others in need. Like many of her generation, when the economy improved, she tried to reclaim that which wasn't available to her previously. Jodie, for example, collected dolls and ended up having hundreds of them. She also loved animals and at one point had 3 cats and a dog. She loved old photos and letters and songs by Frank Sinatra. All of these were treasured by Jodie, and throughout her life, such items and music reminded Jodie of happy memories and lifted her spirits when she was feeling down. There were also many hobbies that Jodie enjoyed, such as needlepoint, crochet, and looming, and completing difficult acrostic puzzles. What meant the most to Jodie and what brought her the most joy was her family. Jodie was blessed with an incredible and amazing family throughout her life. Jodie met her beloved husband when she moved to Detroit and was set up with Martin by Jan and Miriam. After meeting Jodie, Martin quickly fell in love. They were engaged and married. Martin felt so lucky to be with Jodie and said he never thought that he would get to marry such a beautiful and perfect woman. What that made them such a good match was how different they were from each other. They were practically opposites, like yin and yang, but they complemented and completed one another. They loved, cared for, and protected each other. At a time when Jodie's health faced a challenge, Martin said he couldn't live without her. In the end, it was Jodie who took loving care of Martin throughout his life. Today, Jodie and Martin, together, Jodie and Martin loved being parents to Teresa and Aaron, and they believed that raising children was the most important thing that anyone could do in life. Teresa, as you said, your mom was a wonderful and caring and perfect mom. She and your dad wanted to give you and your brother what they had and more. When you were a kid, she looked after your health and welfare. She cared for you and modeled what it means to be a good person in this world. When you were married, your mom planned for you and Chuck the most fantastic wedding. Later on, when you both struggled to conceive, it was your mom who encouraged, supported, and made it possible for you to adopt Max. Then, as always, her optimism was a source of strength to you. What a gift to have such a mother. Aaron, you shared with me that your mom taught you about loyalty, hospitality, and being non-judgmental. You appreciated in particular how welcoming and kind your mother and father were to you growing up. No matter who they were, who your friends were, your parents invited them into your house. They treated them with respect and extended themselves to them. Your parents were also patient and kind with you. If you ever took a misstep or got into any sort of trouble, your parents would help you out of the bind without question or judgment. They were the meaning of unconditional love. It was your parents' dream it was your parents' dream. They wanted to have 2 children, a son and a daughter. They wanted you both to be best friends, to be there for each other long after they themselves passed. And just as they had hoped, you both have remained close throughout your lives and to this day. May you continue to be a source of comfort and joy to one another always. Jodie loved being a grandmother to Madeline and David, and she loved being Gaga to Max. Though her impaired eyesight limited her in this role, there was so much love for her grandchildren. She loved you and she was proud of you. She was thrilled to speak with her grandchildren, spend time with them and hear about your lives. As a grandmother, she was affectionate. And one image that Teresa, you shared with me that you will always remember is that of Jodie, of Gaga, holding Max's hand. What a blessing to have had such a wonderful woman in all of your lives. Jodie will be missed by all of you, by her family, by her friends. She was such a delight to talk with and spend time with. Jodie truly brought light and joy to those who were blessed to know her. As Teresa said, what brings comfort at this sad time is the knowledge that Jodie is now in the loving arms of her beloved husband, Martin, and in the company of her loving family members who preceded her. Jodie received wonderful loving care from her children, from her family, from her friends in this lifetime. And she is cared for by God and family in heaven. What a life she led. What a legacy of love she leaves behind. May Jodie Hollander's memory always be a blessing. Can you hear us now? May be God's will. Amen. I'd like to invite Teresa, please, forward to share a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being a part of a ceremony to honor the life of our mom, Jodie Hollander. I'm heartbroken by the loss of our mom. She was blessed to live 93 years, and she lived a pretty full life. She grew up in Charleston, West Virginia. And every time I say Charleston, West Virginia, our grandmother used to say Charleston, West Virginia, because she had a German accent. She attended Ohio State. She lived in New York City. She went to nightclubs. And the big thing about living in New York City is she saw celebrities. So my Aunt Jan, her older sister, by 4 years and 9 months, would be walking down Fifth Avenue, and my aunt would say, "Look, I see Rex Harrison." And my mom would say, "Darn it, I always see the back of their heads." Rex Harrison turned around and he smiled and he did a dance for my mom and my aunt. And every time I would be with my mother and my aunt, that was the story that I always heard. In addition to that, my mom worked at Saks, at Lord & Taylor, in New York City as a buyer. She married our dad, who was a handful. She had us. She had her beagles. Her life was her beagles and her cats. She enjoyed travel. She enjoyed her book clubs, any kind of needlework you could think of, and of course her beloved doll collection. 19 years ago, in 3 months, I was standing right in this place, giving my dad's eulogy. In the front row was my mother, my Aunt Jan, my Uncle Richard, my Aunt Miriam, my Uncle Harry. May their memory be a blessing. My Uncle Leo, my Aunt Harriet, my brother Aaron. I sat between my Uncle Leo and my Aunt Jan. Our mom sat next to Jan and Aaron. Today, only Harriet is here, my Aunt Harriet. My Uncle Leo is at home resting today. Our mom is now in the arms of our pop, being welcomed by her folks, her sister Jan, and family. Mom is finally really home because she said, "Treese, when am I going home?" I said, "I could go back to Highland Park." She says, "When am I going home?" Well, Mom's home now, and she's beaming down on us today, and she's probably laughing because we're all cold. The last 2 years of her life were hard due to COVID and isolation from her family and people in general. And she thrived on people, exchanging travel stories, talking about her grandchildren. And she was actually the trivia queen at Friendship Village. But we did our best to keep her engaged, letting her know how much we loved her. As the rabbi mentioned, our mom was a loving and doting mother, always worried about, are you okay? You don't look right. She wanted our world to be so perfect, and she did her very best to do that. In addition, she was a wonderful wife to our father. My father lived to be 80 years old because of the care that my mother gave and the prodding and the pushing to go to the doctor. In addition, as a wonderful wife to our dad protected us. We were always safe with our father, but my mother was the strength of our home. I never realized how strong of a woman she was until our father passed away. My Aunt Jan always said, Turkler, my sister will always rise to the occasion and take care of what needs to be done. And she was right. My grandparents, our grandparents, the Kornsteins, immigrated to the United States January 1st, 1922. Our grandfather was born in Romania, our grandmother born in Hungary. They met in Dresden, Germany. Their common language was German, but my mother and her sister never spoke German and had no idea what they were talking about. Our grandfather was an accomplished tailor, highly intellectual, and very well liked in the town of Charleston, West Virginia. He was also a chess king as well. Our grandmother was actually educated in Charleston. She was educated in Europe and made a wonderful home for the family. And together as a team, my grandparents ran a successful tailor shop. They raised their daughters, providing a loving home where they felt safe, teaching their daughters their love of the Jewish culture, life, respect, education first, and how proud they were to be embracing their lives as U.S. citizens. Though our grandmother was once caught coloring Easter eggs with the girls by our grandfather, he questioned her action, and I can kind of hear him, why are they coloring Easter eggs? And my grandmother responded, I just wanted them to experience it. I wanted them to know what other kids were doing. Our mom tended to keep everything. Thankfully, she saved many of the letters her parents and her sister wrote to her. After reading these letters that they sent while she was in college, living in New York City, raising a family, I began to understand my mom even better. And I understood her role of being our mom. Our grandmother was always concerned. Do you have enough warm clothing? Do you have the right blouses and skirts? Did you return Jan's blouse? Are you watching your diet? Are you receiving and budgeting your weekly check? So on and so forth. She always gave advice on how my mother should be. She always gave my mother up-to-date information on Charleston and the family. My grandfather would add a paragraph of life advice and the state of the world. An excerpt of a letter to my mom from my grandparents in about 1946. They called my mother Little Me, as my mother called herself Poor Little Me. And they wrote here, Dear Little Me, we have in mind that we shall take care of Little Me, who's in our care, because she's very intelligent, well-behaved, does not stay up to the wee hours, and is very lovable. And of course, we love her too. Above all, she's not demanding, no criticism, but she keeps us awake. That's it. I also learned our mom was kind of like us too. Another letter, quick sentence. Now Jodie Cornstein. How many times do I have to ask you the same questions that you ignore to answer? Therefore forcing me to ask you over and over and again. And then you say, this mother of mine is nagging me. With that said, we were blessed. Our mom has moved on to a new exciting world, heaven. At peace with our dad, her family, friends, her beagles, and cats are now waiting for her arrival. Love you, Mom. Always in our hearts. As I said at my Aunt Jan's funeral, till we meet again. Thank you very much.
Aaron's going to share a few words as well.
Good job, Teresa. Good job. She's very thorough. I, on the other hand, would be very brief. So good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you on behalf of the Hollander, Petrie, and Boyer families for all of you coming today, celebrating the life of my mom, Jodie Hollander. Right now, she's looking down at us with her ubiquitous smile. Of that, I'm certain. Hi, Mom. So whenever I think of my mom, I really immediately think of how intelligent and witty she was. She really was. Those of you who got to know her, you're blessed. If you never knew her, she was just really one of a kind. You know, I always enjoyed our conversations, just very much. Even when she got tired towards the end, you know, she had a way of sneaking in a pun or two. You know, it's just, she'd always make me laugh. And I knew at the end when she couldn't really communicate, she was laughing, and I could say things, and I could see her smirk because I knew what she was thinking. She knew what I was thinking, and we kind of had an interesting communication. But her way of making me laugh was her gift to me. Mom and Dad taught us many things, but really, most importantly, of unconditional acceptance of others, no matter who they were, and loyalty to people. If a friend or a family member is in need, you help. No questions asked. You just go, right? And I really admire that, and I've always tried to follow those real simple principles in life. And hopefully, I pass them on to my kids, Maddie and Dave there. You know, the neat thing is, I can see Mom in my own kids all the time. So she's really still here for me. Both kids are obviously very, very bright. Blessed with that. And one is very quick-witted, funny, it makes me laugh. And the other, well, she's got her incredible smile. So, thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. Now speak to you on. Thank you.
I'd like to invite everyone to please rise as we recite El Malei Rachamim.
אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים תחת כנפי השכינה, עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר רקיע, מזהירים את נשמת משה יוספה בת חי מרדכי ובלומה שלחה לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר הוא יעשה אמין.
Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Jodie Hollander, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence. Let her soul be bound in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen.
Excuse me.
dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the spirit which now lay within the earth. The spirit itself cannot die. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed Jodie Hollander. Grant her the everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. Though no human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor mind has grasped it, still it is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. O God, help us to understand that grief and love go hand in hand, that the pain which loss inflicts is the measure of a love stronger than death. Though we cry in the anguish of our hearts, may we be like children who know that their parent is near, and who cling unafraid to the trusted hand. In this spirit, O God, do we commit all that is precious to us to your keeping, as we repeat words hallowed by generations. We will now recite mourner's cottage, found on the listening. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba,
Amen.
Yalma, Ibrach, Ute, Yamlit, Ma'ute, V'chayechon, Yomechon, Chayei Tekol, Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Bizman Karir, V'ilu, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba, Nebarach, Yoram, Romei, Amaya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitba'ar, Yitomach, Yitnaseh. Yetadar, Yitaleh, Yitalah, Shemida Kuchar,
Berachot.
Ve'ela Mincho, Birachata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechamata, V'amiram, V'yama, V'imru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemayim, V'chayim, Alenu, V'yalcho, Yisrael, V'imru, Amen.
Amen.
Osei Shalom, V'mamav, V'ya'aseh Shalom, Alenu, V'yalcho, Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. May God grant peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. In Jewish custom, one does not, just as one does not enter the world alone, nor do we leave the world alone. And I will invite, beginning with immediate family members and other family members,